Hello. Um, Welcome back to Wednesday. Good morning, Susan and Ruth and Gwen. Yeah, okay. Well, sorry you can't be there tomorrow, so we'll be thinking about you. Um, yeah, it's this is really sneaking up on me. I keep reminding myself that I have to be there tomorrow. I think I'll have to write myself a big note or something so that I think about it when I wake up. Although, my husband is around here, right? Because he's still working from home, and he's pretty good at reminding me what day it is. He seems to keep track a little better than I do. Um, so yeah, that'll be good. And then, oh, I did. Um, I don't know if I said this yesterday. Maybe I did, but yeah, I did check, and they're closed Monday. So we're gonna have this big break, right? We'll have one class Thursday, and then no class for Labor Day, and then I'm away. So it's basically this class tomorrow, and then a 2-week break until the following Thursday, right? So the Thursday 2 weeks from the, I know, if that makes sense. Hopefully you got the email, so you know what I'm talking about. All right, so the weather has changed a little bit, although it's still pretty humid. It's a bit cooler and looking like it's going to get even more cooler. So I feel like maybe fall is upon us, possibly. We'll have to wait and see if that's the case. Um, I hadn't thought about um, everything in the all my plants. This is why I always nervous about going away, and I don't really like going away because what happens to my plants? This year I actually have been taking care of them instead of just giving up on them come like August like I normally do. Just like yeah, just go ahead. You're probably not going to make it. So actually taking good care. So 2 week to be gone as well. I'm not going to be gone for 2 weeks. I'm going to be gone for about a week, but that's a lot of trust to put into the other people that live in this house. Mm, we'll see. I hope they're up to the challenge. I also have a dog and some chickens, and hopefully they'll be able to keep them alive and kicking as well. Uh, they do it every year, and I worry about it every year. Um, but it seems to be okay. So I was talking to my husband about this you know worry, right? Worry of things that might come, um, and even in the face of, right. I mean, how many years have I been going somewhere and leaving my kids to watch, to hold down the fort? And before then, my dad lived here, so we would go, and my dad would take care of, well, he would supervise the kids. Let's be clear. There was a lot of taking care of the kids, but he would make sure that they got food, make sure that they were fine. The kids were old enough to really help out with that and do stuff too. They were probably 12, 13, sort of, and everything went smoothly most of the time. But then once we came home, and um, the light fixture over the dining room table wouldn't work. And I said to my dad, "Well, what happened to the light fixture?" And he said, "Oh, I don't know. Um, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's working." So there was a bulb that was out. So I had Molly, who's my middle daughter, who was probably, you know, 10 or so. I had her climb up on the table and replace the bulb for me because it's a uh, hanging light. Um, and as he's telling me this, I'm thinking, okay, ma'am, what the hell? You put my kid up on the table and to change the light bulb. And when she changed the light bulb, there was a pop and the light fixture stopped working. So, as you can imagine, that didn't go over too well. But, everyone survived. But I guess my point about that is oftentimes stuff goes on that you don't know about, right? You can't be in charge of everything 100%, 24/7. There has to be a certain amount of letting go that is required in everybody's life. Um, Even if you have a pretty simple life without a lot of other people influencing, right? Maybe you live by yourself, maybe you don't have people coming in, um, climbing up on your table and blowing out your light fixture. I don't know. Um, but even so, there are going to be things that are well beyond your control, and things that happen that you don't know about. And these cause a certain amount of stress and worry, right? Um, as human beings, we spend a lot of time trying to make our environment very peaceful, right? Very stress free. I mean, if we're uh, if we're able to. Um, if you haven't really ever thought about that, you might think about it, right? There are a lot of things that we can do in our life to make things run more smoothly, to make things easier. Um, there's mechanical things, right? I mean, there's stuff that you can buy, little gadgets and things that will um, solve some problems that you may be having in your home. Um, but there's also just setting things up, right? I'm reminded of um, when my dad was older. Seeing him do things in his he had a little apartment in our home, and seeing him do things and reach for things, get things um, that were difficult. It became difficult for him to do some things, but yet he wasn't willing to change where he put things, right? So, he'd always put the coffee filters in one place, or he'd always had um, his glasses in a certain cabinet, even when it became difficult to get a hold of them. I'm like, well, why don't you move them down where you can reach them? No, because that wasn't how he'd always done things. And in his mind, that was accepting defeat, right? Accepting um, that things had changed. Right? But we have to accept when things change, even if it's only temporary, right? I mean, for him, it wasn't temporary, but it could have been if you may be going through something physically with your health, or with an injury or something. You want to adapt and you want to change to accommodate these things in your life, right? Maybe you need to change because some people, maybe your kids have moved back in with you. Maybe you have, you know, maybe you're working from home and you realize that, oh, all this stuff that I ignored, I got to take care of now because I can't get my job done with all this stuff piled over here. Or, there's too much noise in this area. I've got to, move things out or whatever. Um, Seeing things for what they are and adapting what you do is important. Um, and knowing that we don't have control over everything, that we can't We can't know everything that's happening 24/7. And if you don't, it's okay. Um, you're not failing. You're not doing a poor job. You're just a human being. So understand, right, what you have control over and what you don't. And this is a very important thing. It's a part of yoga, but it's a part of pretty much any sensible philosophy I've ever heard of, which is this idea of knowing the scope of your influence, right? What can you affect and what can you not affect? Knowing, right, what is your role, and then filling that role. Not trying to overextend your role into other people's space, not um, expecting superhuman effort and results from your very human body and mind and spirit, right? Or not spirit, your spirit is superhuman, but your, I guess, your emotional well-being, right? Um, and this happens, even people who are very sensible with their physical boundaries, a lot of times get deeply enmeshed in other people's lives on an emotional level, um, which is just as taxing and just as exhausting, um, and just as inappropriate, right? Basically, it's as we talk about this with yoga, that when you're really practicing your yamas, you are in your lane, right? You stay in your lane. It's all about what are you doing, not what is everybody else doing. Not I'm going to point my finger at them and forget my own, right? Forget that the first rule is don't point your finger at them, right? Doesn't matter. Yeah, other people are doing bad stuff. Absolutely. What do you know? Your only counter to that is do your good stuff. You will never change someone else's behavior. Let's say that again. You will never change someone else's behavior. They're the only person that will change that behavior. Um, and nagging isn't going to help, and shaming them isn't going to help. Icing them out isn't going to help. Um, None of these things will help. It's really a sad thing if you think about it, because we are all so talented at living other people's lives, right? We can look at someone else's life and say, "Oh, you just need to do this. You'll be fine." Um, but when it comes to living our own life, we're not that sure, are we? Nothing seems so clear or cut and dry. And obviously, it's because it never is for anyone. Our little window tells us something that is incomplete. But the irony to that is the only person we really could be sure of what to do is ourselves. If we would just pay attention, if we would just look within, um, and really listen. But we get so distracted by the outside noise, by what other people are doing, by what society is telling us that we should want or should do or should care about. Um, when the only guide you need is within. So listen, and don't be afraid to let go. Uh, we exist here as, um, I guess, supporting actors. Right? It's funny to think about that, but you aren't the star. Um, in your mind, you might be the star of the show, but you're not the star of the show, which it, for some people, is very deflating to think of it that way, because they've always felt like they were the star of the show. But if you think about it, it's also a big relief. When you're not the star of the show, you don't have to always be perfect. You don't always have to be the center of attention. Um, you don't always feel like you're the center of attention, right? Which is a lot of times what this all comes from, is people have this fear that they are being judged, they are being measured and scrutinized in everything that they do. When in fact, everyone else around you is struggling just as hard as you are. Everyone else around you is just as unsure and nervous and looking for guidance, right? So be a happy, supporting character in the life, right? The movie of life and life on earth. You are a supporting character. There are no stars. It's all, it's all just a, oh, shoot, what do they call that? Um, ugh, I don't know. There's a name for it. Ensemble. It's an ensemble piece. Um, be comfortable with that. Um, take some of that pressure off yourself. You don't have to be the star. You can just be a really good supporting player, supporting yourself, supporting the people around you, but staying in your lane, right? No steering. Wouldn't it be nice? Well, and maybe that is a way to think about it, right? Um, that internal structure, the guide within, the spirit. Think of that as your GPS, right? Or your like a self-driving mechanism. Um, it's going to plot a route for you, and if you listen, if you pay attention, and it's much more accurate than regular GPS, right? Regular GPS drive you right into a lake, or into a tree or something, or into a parking lot that it says is there, but there's nothing there, or it's just a field or something. Our GPS isn't like that. It's actually good. So it's safe. It's safe to listen to it. All right, so we're sitting up tall. Relax and breathe. And then we'll drop the chin down, relax through the shoulders. Lifting up, keep lifting the chin. Back, take a breath, and lower. Back up and lower. And back up. Bring the soles of the feet together. Sit tall, lean forward. Back up, both legs out in front. Let's point and flex the feet. And then we're going to bring left hand onto the right, outside of the right knee. Right arm behind, sit tall, take a deep breath, twist the shoulders. Back to center and moving the opposite way. And then we're back to center. Take a deep breath, arms overhead, and fold. And we're back up again. Let's point and flex the feet some more. Rotate through the ankles. Didn't sound good. One way and then the other. Then the right knee. We're going to hug that in, tight, shoulders back, sitting tall. And then lower the knee. Deep breath. We're going to lift up the left arm, folding forward. Breathe. And we're moving up. Switch the legs around. First, sitting tall. And then lower the knee. And fold forward. Back up, both legs out. Point and flex the feet again. Rotate the ankles. One more time. One way and the other. Take a deep breath, arms overhead. Fold forward. And then we're back up. Let's bring the arms behind. So fingertips pointing away from the body, squeeze, shoulders back, gazing up. We're back up. Let's bring soles of the feet to the mat. Lower down. And take a couple of breaths here. Let everything settle. And then we're going to bring the right leg in, left leg long. Lowering that right knee out to the side, keeping the rest of the body flat on the mat. Knee back to center. And then we're rolling up on the left hip. Trying to keep the shoulders flat on the mat as that leg comes over. Right arm usually wants to come up, the right shoulder. So gazing to the right, gazing the opposite way of the twist can help kind of steady that upper body. And then we're back to center. Down a little. We're drawing that leg in again. If you want to extend the leg here, you can. And you can switch if you want, right? From holding behind to you grabbing the knee or grabbing the calf or the toe, whatever you want to do. You want to try to keep the body flat on the mat so you're not kind of reaching up. You might have to, I don't know, depending on how flexible you feel today. If you are, it's not a bad thing. It's just we don't want to do that instead of trying to draw the leg towards you. So bend the knee. And then extend the leg. We're going to switch. And then lowering out to the side. Knee comes back to center. We're going to draw it across. Rolling up on the right hip. Coming back to center. And that leg in again. And then working on some extension. Putting the knee down and extending the leg. So let's bring the feet a little wide on the mat. Arms out to a T, maybe. Hopefully you've got room for that. Starfish. Or five-pointed star. And then bringing everything back to center. We're going to do bridge and supported bridge. So regular bridge, and then move into supported bridge. So you've got a block, keep it nearby. We're going to walk the feet close to the body. Knees are bent. Hands by your side. And then we're lifting up. And lower down. Take a breath here. And then hit your block. We're back up and finding a good place that feels supportive. And just breathe here. You can do whatever you want. If you want to bring knees in, extend the legs up, extend the legs out. Lots of options. Each of them will feel a bit different. See what is giving you what you need today. Lifting up, we'll remove the block. Resting back on the mat, soles of the feet together, knees apart. Bring the knees back together, and we're going to hug them into the chest. Rock a little side to side. Extend the legs. And then when you're ready, you can be lowering down one leg at a time or both at the same time, whatever you want. Getting relaxed and comfortable on the mat. keeping attention here. Resist that urge to think of other things. Thinking maybe of that empty space or the breath, something here. The physical sensations in the body. We just don't want to be caught up in our thoughts and wandering off, right? And then moving a bit, you can make your way up to a seat if you want to do that. Bring hands together for a breath in and out. Thank you for taking some time today for yoga and for sharing it with me. I hope that you have a very good Wednesday. Namaste. Okay, let's move into 5-minute meditation. So I was thinking, this is something that people ask, what's the difference between shavasana and meditation? So it's a subtle difference, right? But the idea with shavasana is that we really aren't really doing anything. Even in meditation, we're doing a little something, right? We're sitting up, we're trying to maybe focus on something like a mantra or an image or something, to kind of steady yourself here. You may do that also in shavasana, right? But I think it's just a feeling. The feeling is a little different. In shavasana, you're kind of wrung out. Maybe you did a lot of work in your asana, or you just maybe you just are taking a break. Asana is more a relaxation, right? It's sort of a deep relaxation, whereas I don't know that I would consider meditation relaxation. It can be relaxing. It can also be kind of not relaxing. It really just depends on what's going on with you, what type of the meditation is going to be. So um, I would say the difference is, so Shavasana, you're not really asked to do anything. Yeah. And even Shavasana, people move around, people do different things, change position. It's all about just being comfortable and just, relaxing, but not wandering off, right? Not planning your menu for the week or something. But just a stillness, a real stillness. Whereas meditation is, there may be some activity, right, in the mind, in the I don't know. It's a very subtle difference. There really isn't that much difference. I guess it's maybe the position of it too, right? We wouldn't do shavasana by itself, whereas we could do meditation by itself. Shavasana really it's kind of right at the end of practice. That's sort of its um, traditional place. Um, Although I don't know, you could do shavasana in your room, just like in your bed, like just take a nap, have a little shavasana before sleep. It works. So I guess there isn't that much difference between the two, but you don't need to worry about because it's fine. All right. So comfortable seat, steady breath. Okay, back again. All right, and I really did think of, just as we started, I was thinking of the difference. Probably the big difference is that, you know, for us, our meditation is short, maybe 5 minutes. Our Shavasana also just a few minutes, but meditation can go on a very long time, right? Some people meditate for, an hour or hours even. So um, Shavasana never lasts that long, unless maybe you fall asleep and then it does. So there's probably one of the big differences. Okay, so that's it. Tomorrow I'm going to be at Garfield Park, and I think I'm going to come. I'll be here Friday, and maybe Saturday. We'll see. I got to see what's going on, just to kind of, you know, check in and see how that went, and and we'll do a class too. And then next week, probably not going to do class, but I'll keep you posted on that as well. All right. So enjoy your day.